Hi, Eric here, Land Home Financial Services. Hope you're doing well. So this is video 2 of the basics of AI, artificial intelligence. The first video had to do with the 3 tools involved that you should be using. The second video has to do with how to write effective prompts. And then the third video is takes a little bit of a dive into how can I get results that sound like me, that sound like my voice and not so robotic or artificial, right? So I'm not an expert in AI, so we're going to listen to this gentleman who is. I'll put his information in the comments below to give him credit for this information. And here we go.
Those are the 3 basic tools. The next thing I want to do is I want to talk to you for just a moment about prompting. So you guys may have heard of prompting. Prompting is confusing to a lot of people. It shouldn't be, because ignore the word prompting. It's like texting. This is how we communicate with the AI model that we're choosing. And what I want to show you here is I want to show you how to do that, because if you follow a simple framework, you'll never need to worry about how to write a prompt or what type of prompt to put in place, because it really is as simple as we've got here up on the screen. And so here's the 4 steps to creating a perfect prompt for virtually any objective that you can imagine. First, we want to tell ChatGPT, and by the way, we could do the exact same thing in Claude or Perplexity. We want to tell it what type of expert it should act as. And I'll give you a sample here. We'll work through this so you can see it in action. Then we want to give it some background on what's relevant to the task that you want completed. Think of this as if you're working with a coworker. You don't want to walk up to their desk and say, hey, we need to write a press release, and turn around and walk away. Well, your coworker looks at you and goes, well, press release about what? For whom? Who's our audience? Where's it going? And your response back to them at that point is just, never mind, figure it out. Well, you're going to get poor results at that point in time, because you haven't given them enough context. And we need to give context to AI as well. Step 3 is what most of us look at for our prompt itself. This is the question that we want to ask ChatGPT. And then the 4th part in my mind is my absolute favorite, and I think will change the responses you get from ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity more than any other thing you can do. And that, very simply, is to add to the end of your prompt, wherever you've ended it, please ask me any clarifying questions that will help you provide the best possible response. So let's give you an example here and see how we're going to do that. So the first step we need to do, let's say that we're going to, let's do something here. We're going to write a marketing email doing outreach to maybe existing clients. So I'm going to start by telling ChatGPT, you're an expert copywriter, and I can't type and talk at the same time, I apologize about that, specializing in writing engaging client follow-up emails. All right, so that's the type of expert that I want for my campaign I'm going to create here. I'm going to press Shift-Enter, by the way, to go to a new line item without telling ChatGPT to start running away. The second thing I need to do is I need to give it some context. So I'm Jonathan with ABC Mortgage, and I want to create a follow-up email sequence to send to my clients after they get their mortgage.
So this video was geared, or this webinar was geared towards loan officers, but just replace that with real estate agent, realtor, if that's your business, and it's the same prompting.
To remind them of, there we go, other services. So that's some background, what it is I want, and then my instruction, please create this email sequence. And then the last part, please ask me any clarifying questions that you need to help give me the best response. So now that's my entire prompt. And notice that took what, maybe 30 seconds, not a big deal. And now when I put this in ChatGPT, it's going to give us some relevant information. It does have a couple questions. And the reason that, by the way, we put that last part in is, I don't know about you, but I'm never quite sure what relevant data I need to share. And this way I don't need to try to figure it out. And I never need to be worried about not knowing what I don't know, because ChatGPT or Claude or whatever I use is going to answer my questions. So number 1, what services?
How did you get down to the next line again when you wrote multiple lines?
Shift, enter. So instead of pressing enter, shift and enter at the same time.
Awesome. And then someone noticed that you spelled mortgage wrong in there. And that's
yeah, that's me.
Not to call you out, but my point was, is AI smart enough usually to overcome that? It probably depends.
It is.
But
yeah, as long as you're close, AI is going to figure it out. And I'm a terrible speller because I grew up with spell check and everything else. So I'm terrible at it, and I rarely have problems. But yeah, mortgage is one I always spell wrong. I suppose that's why I'm an AI and not a loan originator. But yeah, that's a very good point. And yeah, shift enter is how we do that. And so again, now we've got these questions and I want to answer them. Now I want to warn you guys, I'm not a mortgage broker, so I'm probably not going to answer these really well. But we're just going to do it so we can show how it works. So notice I'm going to put, it asks them 5 questions, 1 through 5. I'm going to go ahead and put each number in and answer it. So that way the AI model, ChatGPT in this case, can track exactly what I'm looking for and the information I've got. So number 1, what services am I looking to promote? And since we just sold them a mortgage, we probably don't need to talk about financing and home equity loans, but let's talk about financial planning. And then shift enter. 2, preferred timing and frequency. So I want to send 4 emails over 2 weeks. Well, let's make it over 6 weeks. Number 3, tone and style preferences. So the next thing we're going to show you is how you can customize AI to sound like you. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little bit of a cheat here, and I'm just going to put in something called humanize. We're going to talk about this in just a minute about what that word means and why I'm using it. But I want you to remember that, put a little pin in that, because it's one of the things you can use with AI. It's a single word that'll help make it right in a manner that sounds like a human and not like AI. Number 4, personalization. Do I have any specific client information that I want to put in this? We'll just say no, because we're going to assume I'm not giving it data. And what are the client benefits and pain points? Are there any specific pain points or benefits? And so I'm just going to say, now that they have a house, they need financial planning. There's one I was going to misspell. Still may do it again. So to plan for their future. All right, so again, you guys could give it much better answers than I can give it, but just to show you how this works. Here, now it's going to, by the way, AI is really friendly. Notice I was always saying thank you, but notice now it's going to write these emails. Now, one of the things I want to challenge you on is don't just copy paste these into your email system and press send. You want to proofread them, but it's a lot faster to proofread than it is to go ahead and write these from scratch every time you close a new mortgage. So our first one is congratulations and an introduction to financial planning. I won't read these through, but these are pretty decent, and obviously you could add them in. Then there's our second one, and our third one, and our fourth one, and just like that, we've got 4 emails that we can put together in our marketing automation system and put together, and we could dig a lot deeper into this. I mean, we could literally create an incredible sequence that could be used, but this gives you a quick idea of how that works with the perfect prompt framework. So the next thing I wanted to share with
All right, hope that's helpful. And then the next part, the third video, is going to talk about, like you mentioned, how do I get results that sound like me, that are in my voice? So it just doesn't sound like I generated it from artificial intelligence. So stay tuned.